Capacitive proximity sensors are very common in the industry, in applications where you want to detect the presence of an object or even the level in a tank and such, but they are so-called point-sensitive sensors in as level detectors, where you, for example, have a tank here, and you have a sensor here, a sensor here, and a sensor here, and you can only detect if the liquid is above or below that given level there and there and there. So you cannot tell the exact level. But for example, in my car, I have that for my windshield wiper liquid, which has a sensor that warns me that the level is low. So that could be maybe a sensor like here, and it could definitely be a capacitive proximity sensor. Proximity translates to nærhet in Norwegian. What you have in many applications as well is, for example, on a conveyor belt here, where you have a box maybe that runs along the conveyor belt. So the box moves along in this direction, and you want something to detect if you here when the box passes that point there. And also a good thing about those capacitive proximity sensors, that they detect the box without touching the box, so it doesn't influence the process in any way. The box passes on without being touched, so that's positive in many cases. How do they work? Well, what you have is a capacitor, which is made of two areas, as we have seen many times now. But this special capacitor has two areas that are like this. In that way, the electrical field between the plates will be curved a bit like that. Like that. And if you enclose this in a box like this, for example the one that you see here, you will see that the sum of the electrical field will be outside the sensitive surface of the sensor. So outside there will be a portion of the electrical field that goes outside the sensor. Now, if an object passes here close to this one, for example a ball or something, if that one goes along there, well, that will manipulate the epsilon r. So there will be a change in the capacitance when something passes in the area where you have the electrical field that goes outside the sensitive area of the device. Now, that object can be any possible object. It can be metallic object, plastic, wood, water, whatever. Because you have a protective surface here as well, so it doesn't make a physical connection to the plates you have here. However, if the sensor becomes dirty, if there is, for example, a buildup of dirt or moist or whatever here, that will actually influence on the sensitivity of the device. Now, most such capacitive sensors have on-off switch included in the electronics. So what you really want from such a sensor is that it's able to detect an object, not how large it is, not how close it is, but to detect the appearance of an object. As long as the signal from the object is strong enough over a certain threshold. So you want a yes-no answer from the sensor do we have something in front of the sensor or do we not? So it's an on-off device.